let's talk about Cormani McClain. Um, this guy played in 5 or 6 games, something like that last year. Was a freshman last year, class of 2023. Very, very highly sought after secondary player, cornerback, out of the state of Florida. 6'2", 165 pounds, very slight build. We don't know where he's headed yet. I looked back at his timeline, his recruiting timeline, and I see that Miami was very, very involved in his initial recruitment. The Florida Gators were also involved, a couple of home state teams, and he was actually committed to the Miami Hurricanes whenever he flipped his commitment and ended up ultimately signing with the Colorado Buffs. So what are your thoughts on Cormani McClain? Because we've got a couple of different things being said about Cormani McClain as far as, he doesn't study, he doesn't show up on time to practice, he doesn't blah, blah, blah. So is it the development of Cormani McClain or is it Cormani McClain? I can't figure out whether it's an issue with Colorado or if it's an issue with Cormani himself. Kind of hard to tell, it seems like, at this point in time. What are your thoughts on Cormani and where he could end up and just him as a player overall?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a guy who would benefit from a very traditional, hard-nosed, rigorous, structured program. And I don't think that Colorado provided that. This is a guy who's uber talented. He's got the frame. Probably doesn't work out as much as he should based on some of those characteristics that you were mentioning. So if he were to get properly developed, and honestly, you'd have to hold his hand for a little bit for the first year, maybe 2 years, and kind of say like, you better be here, you better be there on time, and have some real consequences to it. Yeah, he could be a superstar. He could be a first round draft pick. He's got the frame and all that speed. Everything is there. I saw some of his film from when he was in high school, and guy's a baller. He's a playmaker. He can go up and catch the ball. A lot of pass breakups. I mean, at the high school level, dude was elite. When you get to college, you've got to start putting your head on straight, day in and day out, and competing and doing what you're supposed to do as a man. You got to man up at some point, and I think that it's pretty clear based on what we've seen and heard that he hasn't done that yet. He hasn't matured to that point yet, and I just hope that he will at some point. I know you mentioned Miami and Florida. I know that they're in on this recruitment, I guess you could say, as a transfer portal player. I also know that Georgia is in on this as well. When you look at programs like Miami, and I do believe that Cristobal runs a pretty tight ship. Florida, I think that Napier runs a pretty tight ship by Florida standards here in the past few years. I think you can easily say that things were pretty wild for a minute there. I think that it's calmed down a little bit. And of course, Georgia is about as structured as it gets when it comes to a college football program. So, I think that he's going to be in a better situation with either of those three. I'm sure that there are more that I'm leaving off. Let me know if you think he's coming to your school in the comment section. But I do believe that Colorado was about the worst place that this guy could have possibly gone. So I think that he'll benefit from a change.
Yeah. Yeah. I ran across something whenever I was looking through stuff about Cormani McClain, and I thought it was worth sharing, and that's what you'll see on the slide here if you're watching through video. And if you are, I hope you'll hit the like button and subscribe and come hang out with us at First and Long. I just wanted to kind of read through this real quick. This was from Andrew Ivins, and for those of you who pay attention to college football, that name probably rings a bell for you, but he is the director of scouting for 24/7 Sports. And this is what he had to say last year about Cormani McClain as he came out of his high school in Florida. A new age cornerback prospect that has a chance to be a difference maker at football's highest levels given his rare blend of size, length, and speed. Started prep career off playing primarily wide receiver before thrusting into action on the defensive side of the ball. Let me skip down through here. Not one to shy away from contact and is a rather spirited as an open field tackler, but must improve in the boxing ring if he's going to settle in as a true bump and run corner on Saturdays. Tested off the charts as an underclassman, posting a 4.5 in the 40-yard dash to go along with a 128-inch broad jump and a 4.3 in the short shuttle. Will eventually need to add mass to a slender frame and continue to refine footwork technique once enrolled at a school of his choice, but has one of the highest ceilings of the entire class of 2023, given how he moves and covers for someone that's pushing 6'2". Must learn how to block out mistakes and find inner confidence once adversity hits, but has the physical makeup of a potential impact player for a college football playoff contender. So, as you can kind of see there, this is a guy that, and I forgot this, could experience some initial growing pains, but freakish traits are worth molding for the long haul. That was the last line of that quote in scouting report. That pretty much tells you everything you need to know about Cormani McClain. Polished, God-given talent. The guy's got the size. You can't teach 6'2". You can't do it. You can't teach 4.5 in the 40 at 6'2". You can't teach 4.3 in the short shuttle. You can't do that. You can work on it a little, I guess, but he's got some God-given talent, but is nowhere near a polished football player. And you're right, Mason. I think he went to the exactly wrong place to become developed. I think if you're already developed, maybe you could go to Colorado and succeed and be part of a losing team if you wanted to. But, that's just a bad place for a player that needed discipline and needed development, no doubt about it.